Welcome to another episode of Tres Leches Radio. Representing 1/3 of the trio here is Radimus. Gentlemen, what's up?
Yo, we here. Murda versus Terror, baby. What up, B-Stacks?
And always, Corso the God, Rensmatic was good with it.
All right, the trio representing. As always, if you've come this far, you have already found our YouTube channel. We can also be streamed on Spotify, Apple Music, and Amazon Music, and we are on anything social media at treslechesradio.com. Not .com, that's the website that we wish to have, but we are at Tres Leches Radio on anything social media. B-Stacks, take it away.
Yes. So first of all, we just want to give big love, big props to everybody who checked out our Locks versus Dipset episode, and the greatest rappers you never knew. So it was only right, man, that we had to do an outcome aftermath on this last past verses from last night. Joe, what we calling it, Murda versus Terror, baby. Where we at with it, fellas?
Love it.
Ooh,
Love it,
yes,
man.
yes.
I love the title. I thought it was enjoyable without spilling too much. It was enjoyable. And I think, guys, I know we were having our internal conversation. I think too many people on paper wrote this off for incredibly stupid reasons. I'm gonna say stupid.
Yeah.
So
No, I agree. It was definitely a situation where I think everybody was looking at, okay, Ja, let's pass his prime, Ja, forgetting his prime phase, and I was forgetting about Joe's run. We're talking about Joe he's a survivalist. He's pretty much since the early 90s to now, like each decade he's been able to, survive. He's the ultimate chameleon.
He manages to make those relationships and churn out another hit. Yeah.
So we're gonna go round by round for the people. Before we start, you guys just want to give your early initial thoughts, like when the matchup was announced. This is Ray's this was his guess here. This is what he thought should be a good matchup. So he got his
Yeah, and you know what, man? Like when we did that was the Verzuz episode we did, right? The Verzuz effect, right? What's it called? I picked that one, and I know we've said it amongst each other, and I think I said it back then. They both had a similar career in that there's street stuff, and then then they both went the extra pop bubblegum route. Like they both followed that. So that's why I always thought that matchup was proper. And when it was announced, it was just like, yo, like that felt good because I think it was a good matchup. You know what I mean? Like I never once wrote it off. Like I just like I said, we had that episode in like October 2020. It made sense back then. When they announced it now, it made sense now. Like I genuinely don't see anybody who wrote it off. I haven't heard a good reason. Anybody who wrote it off hasn't said a good reason as to why it wasn't a good matchup. I'm not hearing it.
Yeah, for sure. Right. I heard people like, oh, that was a snooze fest. And I didn't see nothing snooze fest about it. I think, I think they had a hard act to follow just how Kiss was, in the previous verses, which I think also kind of factor in. But if we're looking at, their accolades, what they had done in the game, and obviously we were never gonna get Ja 50. We already knew that, and we always saw that Joe versus Ja was a great alternative if we couldn't get, Ja 50 at that point.
Yeah. Pretty much the same as y'all, man. I felt like it was a real close, fair matchup. Made sense. They're friends. They're peers in the rap game. And I thought this is probably better than a 50 and Ja. You know what I mean?
50 and Ja don't even make sense.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Aesthetically,
it
it's too
makes
different.
sense in this case of the beef history, but
Yeah, the beef.
But
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, so like for me, like the Fat Joe Ja matchup, I always based it on not even because they were friends. It didn't hurt that they were friends. But like I said, like I looked at it like the musical thing, right? Musically, let's say John 50 never had beef. They're both from Queens, but they are not really in the same lane. What joins them together is their hate for each other. You know what I mean? So that's why I've never, outside of the beef, I don't think anybody who's actually wanted the John 50 matchup has ever really judged it on the merit of music, but just more so, oh, they hate each other, put them in the ring. Is really what it is. So I don't think they're looking at it for what Verzuz actually represents. This is my 2 cents.
Word. So coming into the Verzuz, Ja Rule comes out to we don't give a F the murderers. So we're not going to count that as a song or a round
Foolish choice, right? Wasn't that not a bad move, right?
He wasted
What
a
is
gem.
this? Is like an intro just coming in at that point, or
Yeah. So we're not going to count that as a we're not going to count that as a song.
That works against him, in my opinion, man.
Same. So I called this here for the fellas on the voice notes. We were talking before the verses. I was like, yo, Fat Joe, it's non-negotiable. You Flo Joe was your first single. That's what you got to come out to. So I think they both understood early that they had to go back in the catalog and get street and gutter. So I commend both of them. Fat Joe comes out to Flo Joe. Ja Rule comes out to It's Murda. You know, with the trio, that's the DMX and Jay-Z
OG Murder Inc.
Yeah. So you guys, this is my first and only tie. I put a tie here on this one.
You put it okay.
I couldn't decide, man. Flo Joe, like, I'm gonna get deep into this later in the rounds. Fat Joe's execution with some of these songs was a little lack. I thought Joe was gonna come harder, but Ja sounded really good on It's Murda, and it was a great counter. But I just couldn't decide because I felt like Flo Joe was such a great pivotal record for his career. Streets hard, so that was my only tie. So you guys feel free to break it.
I mean, for me, like I said, especially like Flo Joe, and like I said, a lot of this is really, to me, a lot of these rounds were really coming to placement more than anything. I just felt like, him coming out, Ja, coming out, with Murda. It was like, it was too much momentum, I felt, coming in, with that versus Flo Joe. Like, Flo Joe was hard, but then Ja, like, boom, you know what I mean? And I wasn't expecting that to be his opener. I think we kind of expected Flo Joe, and, how Joe was saying, I'm going to take it back to the streets, I'm going to take it back to this. And Ja matched him, and I think he exceeded that match, in round one. I think he had the ultimate counter punch. I don't think that Joe was expecting, initially at that point. So I had to give that slight edge to Ja with, round one.
Yeah. And to build off of you, I gave it to Ja. You know what it is? Like for me, like both records, Flo Joe, like even when I'm just listening to like my own Fat Joe playlist, Flo Joe, you could tell Joe was still very green, right? He was in the game. He has a nice record there, but I think he has better street records. And I understand it's round one. He's not going to give you the uppercut, the knockout there. But I don't think Flo Joe, great record. I'm taking nothing away from it. I don't think it hits like It's Murda. And Joe was playing the game a little bit of, you're relying on a DMX and Jay-Z record. Ja didn't play 1 second of their verses. And two, It's Murda wasn't even a radio smash. It was an album cut off of Veni Vidi Vici. So that wasn't one of those things where I think the names attached to it made their songs where names attached to it kind of lift the record up. But Ja held his own on this record. And I think this record is more polished, and Ja Rule was more polished in 99 on his first album than Joe was on his first album in like 93, I think that came out. So long story short, Ja gets my vote. So it's a tie 2 to Ja. So we giving that round to Ja.
Ja. Round 2, swinging in. Joe comes with My Lifestyle. Hard one, man. Hard one.
Yeah.
Man, can I get again, like Ja's energy? It just, like, My Lifestyle is probably the better song, I'm gonna say, like in hip hop aesthetic. But can I get it? I just remember when that was out, and Ja had to, like, to me, that's the best Ja Rule performance song. Like you just see him gyrating and doing this little, He
was back in the video there. He was back in 98 for a second, right? Like,
that energy, I gave it to Ja on that one, man. That was for me. I had him on that one.
Yeah. Pretty much the same. I mean, as much as I love My Lifestyle, especially when that first came out, and that's the energy and the feeling gave. You can't really deny Can I Get a, and like you said, that presence that he did it on that live version. I'm like, man, had My Lifestyle been maybe like round 6 or 7 versus something, maybe Joe would have had it there. But to me, just came out with good counters at the beginning. I don't think that I was even expecting from him. I was expecting some of these tracks maybe later down, where maybe he might have been on, quote unquote, on the ropes. But he came out swinging to show that, hey, I had these street records. I had these hardcore records as well, just like you have it. So I had to give that one to Ja as well for round 2.
Yeah, and you know what? Remember, like when Ja Rule actually replied to our tweet on the Tres Leches handle, when we said Ja not only has a verse on Can I Get Her, because again, Joe was trying the angle, that's a Jay-Z record, blah, blah, blah. Ja Rule wrote the hook. One of the biggest things of that song that pops is the chorus. Ja Rule wrote it. Jay-Z acknowledged it in the booklet of Volume 2. Like Ja Rule's contribution to this song is too massive. So like, you know, and I get it. Joe was just playing the game. When you're up there, you know, you're going to throw shots. It makes sense, right? But I got Can I Get It? I love My Lifestyle. And Renzo, you said it best. My Lifestyle, he pulled that one too early. He needed to play that one like 5 rounds later. There's other songs Ja went with that My Lifestyle would have absolutely beaten. There's people right now who are gonna go My Lifestyle because they want that, you know, hardcore East Coast thing versus the dance in the club kind of record. I just don't think that My Lifestyle, I don't think it's stronger than Can I Get Her, even though they kind of occupy 2 lanes. So I think us 3, Ja Rule here, round 2.
Yep, Ja. Swinging into round 3, Joe comes in with this segue was great because like Ja was in his face, and then Joe goes, "Who the fuck do you think you're talking to?" Perfect. I shot you. Yeah, I mean, I always remember that collabo with, you know, the LL I shot you. So I gave it to Joe versus the Murdagram for Ja Rule, even though that's a massive record. I mean, Ja's correct. He's like, y'all, I'm one of the 3, you know, in that holy trinity of the late 90s. So, but this was a hard one. This round was a hard one. Yeah. This could have really been another tie, but I had to just choose. So I went with Joe on this one.
Yeah, agreed. I kind of went the same, because, you know, let's hear that verse again. This brought back chills, you know, because a lot of people forget he was on that track, you know, and everything. And much like the Murdagram, you know, I just felt Joe more so on that. That's what I kind of felt like, okay, maybe he can kind of switch the momentum a little bit. Because now he's kind of coming the way I thought he was come in the earlier rounds, you know, as far as the placements go.
Yeah. I went with I Shot You Too. Once I heard the piano keys, I was just like, I don't know what Ja got for it. I was like, but I don't think he has one for it. You know, and I think in the video, Pun is in the background of this video, right? I think so. That's not why I picked it. Everyone's gonna be like, you're such a Pun stan, right? No, I just think the I Shot You remix, and I think we even mentioned it on our the Posse Cuts episode. It's just one of the all-time greats, and Joe's contribution there. This is a song where Joe is not the only rapper on it, but his contribution makes a difference. I like the Murdagram record, but it's not better than the I Shot You remix. So I got Fat Joe. So we all win Joe on this one.
Another take I would say too, like I was thinking about this morning. Ja Rule blew up so fast, so you don't really get him on collabs. Like he doesn't really have a lot of those collabs. Where Joe had more time as a mid-range artist, and it makes good for like a well played out career for these type of tracks. Because you see the growth when he was like, he was not the biggest star on the song. He probably was like 3rd place.
And this is like 96. Yeah, I don't even think he's got a gold album yet at this point.
Right. So it just really helps show like, you know, that growth and that essence in that moment. But swinging into the next round, Ja goes with Holla Holla, which is actually the answer to Fat Joe. Well, he had a blend here with the Enemy and that doo-wop freestyle. All right, so
that was the same round. Okay, I might have it wrong.
Same round.
Okay, yeah, because I saw he had the Shook Ones freestyle. Okay, I just
same thing.
You guys go ahead. Yeah,
because he went Shook Ones and then he went into the Enemy.
It was the same round. All right, so in the moment, I'm like, oh man, Holla Holla, man, you know, that work. But then after like 20 seconds, I'm like, all right, I don't want to hear Holla Holla.
We know it's murder. Shut up.
Right. Yeah. It's one of the repetitive records. Like after a while, you don't even listen to it. So I had to just, man, for people who understand DITC and Big L, the fact that he just I did not expect him to go with the Enemy at all. So that's a primo cut. That's a cut that him and Big L did before death. That, you know what I mean? It wasn't no reprise, feature. That was a real, So a real song. So man, for the love of hip hop, I gotta go with Joe on this one. You know what I mean? With the Enemy.
And I was on the same, and it's funny too, because as far as him and Ja being cool, you can tell there was tension there because when the Enemy was about to come on, Ja was like, "Why was this?" And you can tell he's like, hold on, this is Big L. You talking
He
about
said,
here.
before you
like,
step in shit.
well,
He literally said, before you step in
like,
shit.
You can tell it was about to get real. Like,
Yeah, Ja really
you know?
didn't know that record. Again, like Ja had he went to the moon so fast. It's like, yeah, bro, you forgot about these Concrete records.
Yeah. Yeah. And the same thing, like you said, in the moment, I'm like, yeah, if we're talking about this aesthetics, like how obviously bigger hit than Enemy, freestyle, whatever, but like you said, repetitive, and it's like I don't see how that track can fare up to the Enemy by itself. Forget the doo-wop freestyle, just the Enemy by itself. I just said not that, you know, I had to give it to the Enemy at that point. I mean, this you know, like, and I said, this a feel it gave me then versus as well as now in the present. You know what I mean? Because I think it's easy for us to say, okay, back in this year, such and such, this was a better track. But I'm looking at it now, how do we feel about it now, 20 years later? Do we get that same feel? Is it a different emotion? You know what I mean?
I mean, the Enemy, I probably played that song 100 times, yo.
Yeah.
Such a hard
it was on that
record.
first. Well, it was on that first that DITC album, and then they put it on the Big L, that Big Picture album.
The
they did.
Big Picture.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Such a classic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if y'all heard me clicking over here, I was readjusting my rounds because, like, you know, like you saw how I did it here. Yeah, but that goes to Joe. You had he dug deep on that one, you know. So when at this point, when he's reaching into his DITC bag and he's doing like his I think that was like a doo-wop freestyle, that Shook One's thing. Like he's going the route that I, you know, in my mind, I said, yo, if Joe stays in the lane that he is best in, he will win several rounds. And this is the case here. I like Holla Holla. Even as a Ja Rule song, I don't listen to that one more than others. But I got Fat Joe here as well. He just stuck to the Joe aesthetic here, and it worked.
Yeah. Joe. Oh, go ahead, Rance.
No, I'm gonna say overall, I think Holla was just one of them tracks. Like, yeah, it was a big single, then big hit, but it's not to me one of them tracks that have aged well, you know, over the years. Not one of them tracks where I'm saying, hey man, we're gonna throw on Ja Rule playlist. It's not one of the tracks I'm looking for, you know, in a Ja playlist person.
Right.
Yeah. And it helped for us that we did that Murda Inc. episode, so we were like more polished and like, you know, reminded of his catalog. So when these songs came on, I think we had a fresher view than maybe a lot of people. But Fat Joe, this is where it started to get, you know, a little terror era.
So wait, real quick, just so that was that's the first 5 rounds, right? Like,
yeah. So now we're starting. This is 5.
Oh, that's 4. Okay.
Okay. So we split now. But two Ja, 2 Joe.
All right, I'm just fixing my stuff over here. Don't mind me. All right, so that was okay. That was round 4. All right.
Yep. So Joe comes in with the Annie Up remix, really to introduce Remy. Yeah. Remy comes in. They, you know, I wish I could bring Pun back. Man, when she did Twins and Pun's verse, bro, I got chills.
Yeah.
Yo, and not to cut you off, but see, you talking about the chills. Me and Ray saw that when we were out in LA. It was you know, when they were, you know, promoting their new album, and she said it live then, and I'm like, yo, you know, I thought she was gonna say a couple words and then, you know, put the words on, but how she just went verbatim with the breath control, the double. I was like, you talking about chill? I mean, seeing it live and hearing it again gave me that same type of chill again, you know, as far as where she was at that point in her game, you know.
Oh, this was a perfect. I had already been like, I penciled in Fat Joe as in this one. I'm like, I don't even know what Joe's gonna do. He lost.
But see, I don't think this. But you know what? I know he introduced Remy, but Joe's not even on Annie Up remix. So like me personally, I didn't give him leverage on that one because he's not even on the song. Like, I appreciated that he brought her out, but I couldn't, like, just how I saw it, I couldn't do like, he's not on it. You know what I mean? So I couldn't be like, all right, it's Annie Up versus, I think Ja Rule went what?
Yeah, I
went between me and you, right?
But Ray, I got it. So I'm looking at it like logistically, like if Remy is coming out of here, like you want to use her as much as you can, and that, like, utilize her, like, literally for her time and talent. So I don't think it was in the beginning. In the moment, I'm like, oh, Joe, you're not on that song, but I get it that's how he kind of just introduced her on the stage. That's how kind of I looked at it.
Yeah, I looked at it like an interlude almost.
Introduced,
like, this is not my song, but here's
so I'm judging Twins. Yeah, I'm judging Twins versus Between Me and You.
Yes, like, that's exactly what I'm doing too.
Exactly.
All right, so we're saying the same thing. Okay, cool. Like I wrote the song down here, but I'm like, it ain't gonna give Joe like leverage for me. He's just introducing Remy, like you said. Like that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, because even when you said last night, oh, he did extra songs, I'm like, well, I didn't look at his extra song. I looked at like almost like the interlude to the song that he was about to do. Technically speaking.
I just wanted to see how many songs he was gonna say he produced.
Yeah, when he said
salesman, give me a break, dude. My God, come on. I know you got millions because of the gift of gab, but give me a break. My God.
I'm executive producer.
Oh my.
Like since when, Joe? Since when?
He went to the school of Diddy, bro. Jesus Christ, bro.
Hilarious.
My bad. I'm in derail round 5. So it is basically Twins versus Between Me and You here, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
that's Twins.
And twins by landslide. Like
that's Twins.
like,
Puns Records. And you know what though? See, this is a situation where, even if Joe was on Annie Up and Twins, right? Between Me and You was not the counter here. That's not the record. So I think Ja wasted one here. He could have used Between Me and You later on, especially when Joe was reaching for his, hits, right? Like his more pop stuff. Ja blew one right here with Between Me and You. Like you're not beating Twins with that record, and I like Between Me and You, but you're not beating Twins. You're not beating Twins here, bro.
No.
Yeah, and that goes back to placement. Placement's everything. In these verses because Between Me and You is banger, but like not against Twins.
So I'll save this for round 7, but this should have been the last time we heard Big Pun. I'm just gonna say that. So round 6.
You're gonna get thrown in the basement, beast.
Armageddon.
Oh man. Shout out to Armageddon.
Shout out to Armageddon. Round 6, Joe goes with All the Way Up, which is, that's just like a 3-pointer from deep right there. With Remy still, on the stage. And I believe, is this where Ja brought out Mo and
No, this is Living It Up.
This is Living It Up.
But is Mo already on the stage with
No,
not yet.
I'm looking at the song listing. This was the battle of the Up records, All the Way Up versus Living It Up.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah. That's what Ja was saying. I don't got nobody. It's just me by myself, before we saw later on, obviously.
Right.
Until Joe made those comments about the women.
Oh yeah. We ain't even gonna get into that.
Yeah.
Nah.
Too much. If you want to get in that, go on the internet. Slide that.
Go to TMZ.
Right. So when Joe did All the Way Up again, I'm like, I don't know what's gonna put a cover over this song. I'm gonna say, when Living It Up comes on, I'm like, oh shit. When I hear that trumpet, I felt like Irv Gotti. I was like, champagne. Champagne. Oh my murderers.
Those are my horns.
Again, I give the edge to Ja just because performance aspect. Really? That song is a banger. I know All the Way Up is more of a hip hop consensus, but I gave it to Ja on this one, man.
Wow.
He had me bouncing,
featuring
bro.
Case.
Yeah. He had me bouncing on this one, man.
I respectfully applaud your viewpoint, but
I already know where this is going.
I disrespectfully.
He's like, give me my champagne bottle back.
I want the hen rock. Shoot. No, I have to go all the way up. It's funny because like even when All the Way Up first came out, I wasn't a big fan of the track, but it was so contagious, especially when the rant and then. Living Up was good, but I didn't think that was the song to counter All the Way Up. I just felt too much energy from that and too much feel. So I still had to go with Joe the God on that one.
But see,
another God.
I think Ja was still trying to like force he wasn't trying to adjust yet. You know what I mean? Yeah. He was just like,
definitely wasn't.
Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna give you hits. So
yeah, that's what he said. I was gonna give you hits, and to me, I think if we learn anything, like I said, the Lock and Dipset. It's not always about the hits all the time. You know what I mean? It's about whatever your counter punches, whatever shoot records you might have, underground, gems that you might have, where he's like, I'm just going to give you the Ja's greatest hits album. You're just going to take it, type deal.
Yeah. And I also went all the way up here. This is another one where I like Living It Up, but I think, like you said, Ja was like the last 2 songs now, Living It Up and Between Me and You, he could have saved those. He could have saved those for like second half. And I personally think those were higher shelf Ja records that I didn't think would be played within the first 10 rounds. So I don't think he lined up here perfectly. I like both records, but all the way up, that, you know, that was a few summers ago. I just liked it more. So I'm with Renz on this one. So it's 2-1. Joe gets this round.
All right. So yeah, we're rolling to round 7. And Joe comes in with like John Blaze. He does like almost the whole verse, and then he kind of cuts into this cheat code thing here. In my opinion, right? Producer Diddy Joe.
Joe.
So like he does Still Not a Player. I get the pun tribute thing, but I'm sorry, bro. This is not your record. Like, John Blaze is good enough on his damn own.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Exactly.
You don't even need Still Not a Player at this point. You know, at any point you need it.
See, I think Joe, I think was like, you know, the business resource, right? Like when Pun was putting that debut album together, Pun made sure, you know, Joe made sure Pun got access to people, but Joe, it's not Joe's pen or creative influence that made Still Not a Player. That's all Big Pun. Yeah. So when he was just like, I produced that record, I think he's really bending that word a little bit too much. And you know what? Yeah. On the official Big Pun IG, I think Liza runs that one. She tweeted there. She was like, did I just hear my record on the Verzuz? So she actually tweeted from there. So everyone was kind of scoffing at that one. I will say that.
So yeah, I went down as B just because Joe didn't even do his whole verse on John Blaze, and then you go with Big Pun's whole single. So I'm gonna go with Down as B. Whoa. So I went with John on that one.
See, and I felt the same way, but I was still looking at the interlude, so I didn't even count that as like, okay, using the song, even though he was trying to push it that way. I still went with John Blaze personally, because I'm still looking at the John's counters at this point, and it's almost like now you go more lovey-dovey when we're not really in that lane, you know, as of yet. I think I still think like Down As Bitch could have been something in the later rounds where you say, okay, you can pencil that in at that point. So even with Joe, to me, with a fumble, with, you know, trying to play Still Not Playing, trying to use that while I produce it, quote unquote, I still gave him a round that's off the strength of John Blaze, you know, at that point.
Yeah, but pretty much, yeah, I still went Joe here. And this is like now like the third round where Ja got Down As Bitch. These are records that I think he should have saved for the end. I think he had other ones. He has records here. Joe's going street. Ja Rule had opportunities to hear for like the last 3. He could have went Murder for Life. He could have went How Many Want to Die.
Murder for Life.
Had he saved that We Don't Give a joint instead of the intro, he could have saved We Don't Give a here. He could have did. Remember that joint on Rule 336? It's murder. You know, it's murder. We eat it. It's called FU, the record. He could have went Dial M for Murder. And you know what I'm saying? He had records that those are the ones he should have put here. Instead, he blew some of these right here that you're in New York, and Joe's playing the very New York feel records. He's playing the records for the home team. And that's just a few that Ja had that he could have played. And honestly, we're having a different conversation because everybody was like, oh, Ja only has pop records. But those right there would have painted a different picture of, oh, y'all forgot Ja has this, Ja has that. And they bang. And, you know, otherwise, I think if he plays any one of those, like
Murder for Life. I would have,
Murder for Life would have. Oh my God.
Money, drugs, and Murder for Life.
How did he not do that? All right, I changed my mind. John Blaze.
So just right. You got me.
That's what I'm saying, man. So yeah, so that was round 7. That goes to Fat Joe. Now we're up to round 8. B-Stacks.
Yeah, so round 8. I don't know the title of this song. I just know Fat Joe said Body Blows. I got it in
Slow
my
Down.
Notes.
It was on that Slow Down, Joe, you're killing them. That was off his the Dark Side album, which came out like 2010, and it was a very good Joe.
That was a good album.
That was Joe stopped when he really stopped chasing the hits and went back to making a Fat Joe album, and it was a damn good album. And this was the single for it. It was called Slow Down. Like, slow down, Joe, you're killing them.
All right. So Ja responds with Put It On Me. I mean, with the entrance of Little Mo and Vita here, it clearly gives him the distinction of the victory for this round. I think this is where, like, what we said earlier, when he was like not adjusting, this is actually probably where he should have went into our Loverboy Ja Rule's, sing-songy, type of style, because we're getting kind of almost midway here. But Little Mo, excellent performance. It was great to see her. She sounded good. I gave it to John.
Yeah, she still got pipes, that one.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, once I put it on me, I'm like, like I like Slow Down, but Put It On Me came on, like, not a street record, but you like this Little Mo on there and everything else, you couldn't really deny, that regardless. So I mean, that to me was him like, I'm getting off the ropes now. You get enough of these body shots and get off the ropes, get a little breather here. Get some more space so I can, land a couple more jabs. And so I definitely gave Ja the edge on this one here.
Yeah, I went Ja as well. And I think what happens here is, even though Joe's Slow Down record is not as hard as like the previous like 7 he was playing. So I think what happens here is Slow Down is him. There's a little bit of that I want to be heard on radio, but then a little bit of that Bronx energy. So I think it was a tier down from what Joe just went on a run playing. And it gave Ja the perfect opportunity, which it looked like Joe, anything Joe would have played, if Ja was going to put it on me anyway. When you look at the songs he's been playing up to this point, right, it looked like it don't matter what he plays, Ja's going to put it on me here. So when I heard that, and did you hear the crowd? The girls were singing it.
Oh man.
Like, you know what I mean?
It was lit.
That was one of many moments where people write off Ja, but if yesterday's hits are not today's hits, which was the biggest bullshit statement, I love when Ja countered, yesterday's hits are called classics. And that's exactly what they are. Put it on me. I don't care if you're the biggest Timberland boot in the summer wearing with jean shorts type dude. Put it on me. Beats Slow Down here. Ja Rule, round 8. We just, all three of us just went Ja Rule on this one.
Yep.
Put your penny loafers on this show.
Consensus. So this is where I think Joe, I didn't like his selection here, but I still had him taking it. Joe comes out with Don Cartagena. In real time, I remember that record real well.
560.
We just was quoting that. He could have, to me, he got way like harder stuff off Don Cartagena. But he, this is what he chose, whatever. Ja comes in with So Much Pain. I never liked that song, So Much Pain. I never really liked the Tupac.
No, he went Thug Lovin' here.
Oh, no.
My bad.
That's round 10.
I'm tripping.
Thug
So there's Don Cartagena versus Thug Lovin' with Bobby Brown.
My bad. Yeah. So I think I still go Joe here. Even though Thug Lovin', I probably like that a little bit better. But I still remember like the aesthetics of a Don Cartagena record. I still go Fat Joe here.
Yeah, same here. Not like you said, placement wise, but Thug Lovin' after Put It On Me against Don Cartagena, I still get a slight edge. You can tell out the crowd didn't know that song. You kind of got that feeling, but I didn't see the crowd going too crazy over Thug Lovin' neither. For all that, but I still get a slight edge. Joe.
I gave this one to Joe too. The placement did feel a little random. But Don Cartagena is from like an era of Joe where he was still ascending. Thug Lovin' was when Ja's run was on its way out. So I think that's how the records registered to me. I mean, I think we're all kind of like bigger Fat Joe fans than Ja, but we like both for different reasons. And Don Cartagena is also my favorite Fat Joe album. So it was going to take a lot for me to hear, to vote against Don Cartagena. And I gave this one to Fat Joe. I loved hearing it. I did not think he would do it. Honestly, I didn't think he was going to do this song at all. When he did, I like Thug Lovin', but I love, other Ja records in that vein more. So Don Cartagena, round 9.
All right, we're going 10 here, almost to halftime. Ja Rule comes in with his first, I will say, a blend of songs. I don't know, Ray. You want to pull up the track listings?
Yeah. So actually, no. So he doesn't do the blend yet. So before they go into that blend, Joe does his verse on All I Do. All I Do Is Win, the Khaled joint, and then this is where Ja Rule does so much pain off the Pain Is Love album. And
okay, so I might have missed a round then. Okay, all right.
Yeah. And to be really honest with you, I went so much pain here because, to be brutally honest, in my opinion, that All I Do record, after you hear T-Pain on the hook and Ludacris's opening verse, the song don't matter anymore. Honestly, there ain't a verse after that.
Like, it's like a skip round for me, man. Honestly,
yo,
I probably was getting champagne and coffee or something.
Like, I see why Joe did it, because he would say I'm on hit records and stuff.
He probably produced this one too, right? Like,
I don't, like you said, like outside of Ludacris, and honestly, I like Snoop's verse on there because I like how he does slow the pace down. But outside of that, like, you know, if you're out, whatever. But this is not a song I'm playing in the crib or even in the what, you know what I mean? And as much as it's so cliche that people, you know, using old pop records and recycling it, I still, you know, with that, because to me it was almost like the lesser two evils type deal. Like, I don't really care for this track, but you know, this is more listenable. I'll play this first before I'm playing, you know, when, you know what I mean? So I gave Ja you know, this round here to you know, to wrap up that first half.
Yeah, definitely went to Ja. And let me ask you something. With the All I Do, see, I think Joe isn't a difference maker on the song. That's another reason why I didn't pick it. Because I think I'm on a record and it did these numbers, and I'm like, yo, like,
nobody.
He's not why it did digits.
If he's on there,
right?
You know, people, first, like you said, first people were talking about T-Pain and Ludacris. You know, nobody's really talking about that. He probably be like the last person you probably would think about on that song.
This is an example of where Joe is attaching his name to something bigger. You know what I mean? So it's like you feel like he's kind of fluffing it a bit. Oh, well, that record was big. Yeah, but, you know, no offense, it's not because of his verse. You know what I'm saying? It's not like it was like his verse on John Blaze adds to the song. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's a difference maker there. He's a difference maker on the I Shot Your remix. On the All I Do, not the same effect.
Yeah, no, he's just there. So we're swinging in the next round.
Then
they go into halftime. Yeah, this is
So
So
what we got right now for the first half as far as the tally? So we're 10 songs in. So right now.
Ja, we got 1, 2, 3, 4 for Ja. Joe, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Should be 6 for him, right?
6. Yeah. So
6, okay.
Yeah, Ja
6 for Joe.
6
for
Joe. Yeah, 6.
Yeah, and I will say up to this point in the first half, I'm thinking if the second half plays out like the first, honestly, I think Joe's gonna run away with it. To be at this point when we're watching, in my mind, I'm thinking, I don't know if you guys felt like it was still anybody's game, but I thought Joe was gonna run away with it. Even though here we got 6-4, you know, and that's still close, you know.
So like energy wise, I felt like Ja Rule was like very present, you know, but in like
he's also more healthy.
Yeah.
Healthier than us. Oh, combined.
Yeah, like seriously.
Shirt comes off in the next couple of rounds, by the way. But Joe, we're talking like round for round, you know, analytically comparing stuff. He had the better rounds, you know. But you know, it's a cumulative thing. Versus is like it's more than, we're judging more than one thing here.
Yeah, it's the performance. How much shit was Joe talked to up to this point, right? He mentioned the Fire Festival. He dissed the girls. He said them dusty looking broads. He threatens I'll play Candy Shop. He's like, you know, I produced that record too. Only for Scott Storch to get on IG Live and say Joe only helped with the intro of the song. That's it. Like, so Scott Storch even just said, Joe, that's cap. You know what I'm saying? But these guys are friends. Joe was freaking ripping into him like hard. That's one thing Ja could not really keep up with Joe. Joe's like, just for the showmanship, how Jadakiss did it to Dipset, Joe was doing it to Ja.
Definitely. So Ja comes in with Down For You. And so that was 12. So when he comes out, right? So in the what was in the first half, Fat Joe started. Now the second half, Ja Rule starts. He came out playing The Crown off the They Can't Keep a Good Man Down. He's like, always keep a smile. And then he also, this is the first time Ja Rule does. So this is the Ja blend. All right, this is the
Ja blend. He does Crown. They will never ever. And then he goes into Ain't It Funny, the joint that they gave J-Lo. So I like this because he did one street and one radio.
It's perfect. I gave Ja this round. That intro The Crown, it's a hard record, man. That goes in.
It's slept on. It's slept on because it's on that Blood in My Eye when 50 was at the height of his career. That's a hard record, dude.
Yeah.
And this was up against Joe's. Honestly, I've never heard this song. Sunshine. It's called Sunshine. It's a Khaled record. I think it's only about a few years old.
I put like new in my listing. I have it says newer Fat Joe.
It's just Fat Joe question mark.
I think this came out. I feel like this came out actually this year though.
It's fairly recent, but
yeah,
not it. Like it's not beating Crown in my opinion. I don't know. I went Ja here. I don't know. Renz, did you go Ja here as well?
It's funny, and it's how you talk about Sway. When I first heard last time, I remember listening to that track back in June. I'm like, oh, this is a nice, good, actually good, feel good summer track, because I was, but then again, but going back and forth last night, it's almost like between Crown and Views and, ain't it funny? I'm like, you can't really deny that, so I had to go with Ja, with that joint there.
All right. Well, majority rules here. So,
well, I think we all
three Jaws anyway.
We just went three Jaws.
So Ja's coming back here. 6'5" Ja. All right. So this is where Joe comes back with I'm so excited. Correct.
And then Ja does the
down for you. I'm so excited. Another, more of his recent hits. I remember that one with Dre. I still took Down for You here. That when he played that, I just remember like I guess the history, right? So here's a nice little battle because you got a newer-esque record that's hot for Joe versus like a classic record that was hot for Ja then. So like what wins? And to me, what won was the memories. I just remember how girls responded to that record, being in the club, and he still can perform it well. So I gave that.
Hear them singing it too. That was another one. They were screaming that in Madison Square Garden.
They were going eight in there.
For people who constantly say Ja his stuff hasn't aged well and he's an afterthought, blah blah blah. What did you hear in that crowd last night? For somebody who's so forgotten, there was like at least 1,000 women in there. I don't know how much MSG holds that would disagree with you. So. I went Down for You here as well. There was just, I don't care for a lot of late Joe records, but I don't think that So Excited was strong enough to beat Down for You.
Yeah, for sure. And I'll kind of swing that way as well. Because like you said, that's the feel where how I kind of remember, like you say, how that track when it first came out, years back, and then hearing it again, crowd interaction,
No doubt.
So
it's a legit there, it's a legit hit, man. Like that's never, that'll be played 20 years from now. All right, man. So we roll in the next round. Joe keeping it nasty. Face down, ass up. What is the title of the song?
So this one's called Yes. This was a joint with like on his joint album that he didn't promote as a joint album with Dre. With Cardi B. So this is the song's called Yes. So this is the one that had like Cardi B on it or whatever. That was so cheap though, because Joe was saying it was his last album, but it was a duo album with Dre. Like he should have just promoted it. Like he would have given his man who gave him hits, I think more publicity. Yeah. You know what I mean? I think he should have said it, But yeah, that one's called Yes. And then you got the Ja title. I have it just in case.
The Ja, this is my song. It's called 13 Destiny. This was my joint off Last Temptation. A lot of cats don't really remember this one. It was on one of the big videos from that
Mesmerize.
album.
It's after that.
Yeah, so it's the
He's
end
in
of
the
that
black
video.
leather jacket.
Yeah. So I might have been a minority here as far as like everyone goes, and not just us. But I really remember this joint. So I went 13 Destiny here with Ja Rule.
I went Ja Rule here as well.
Wow. I honestly went with Joe on the site just because I just like the vibe. I just look at the more of the placement, but I went Joe, but I can see why, as far as Destiny, if I did go Joe in this one here. Yeah,
like Renz, I'll say like by the time like Last Temptation comes out, that album's a mixed bag, but Destiny was the outro to the album. And it was just like you're listening to it, and it's like, damn, Ja, like, you could be doing a few more of these on the album.
Yeah.
And I always remember, like Brandon, like you said, it was they threw it at the end of the video because remember the video's Mesmerized. That's like the cheesiest video ever. So I feel like they tried to balance it out by throwing this at the end. And I've always liked this record by itself. So I couldn't believe he did this.
Me too.
And when he did it, I'm like, yo, I was like, I can't not give this to Ja. I like just maybe bias or whatever. I went Ja here as well. So it was 2-1 Ja for round 13.
Yes.
All right. So yeah, Ja's in the lead now as far as Tres Row goes. Fat Joe comes in with another round. That's that Chris Brown feature. Mm-hmm. That's a big. You know, so now Joe is going into his Ja Rule bag. You know,
even had Ja Rule sing the hook on this.
Yeah, Ja started singing along with it. Yeah, I caught that. Yeah.
But that's love right there. That's when you see their camaraderie, their brotherhood and stuff.
This is after Joe telling him bologna sandwiches for everyone. That's a shot at that Fire Fest. I was like, Jesus Christ, man. Joe.
Yeah, Joe was like, I'm mad at all y'all for singing along with this crap New York. And then Ja has Rainy Days, which is, hey, I respect that record. I think it was an MJB feature.
Yeah, it was Mary's record. He was featured on it, but he did a lot of writing on it. This was Ja. Yeah. This was when Ja was like that short window of features he had. This is when he was a go-to guy when you wanted to hit that top 40, and this was one of them.
Yeah,
I mean this round to go either way. I went with Joe here in the moment, so I really don't have a reason.
I went with Joe just because I think it was placement though. Again, I just didn't think that was the right song for that round. Honestly, him. I think he did because this was a major hit. I think that Joe hit. Yeah,
he sat down for this one, right, Renz?
Yeah,
this is the one where Ja sat down, and
I'm gonna sit down. I'll give you this round, type deal. But I think the Joe Chris Brown record, was to me was a better record, and
a lot of people really connect to that record. Like me, not really, but that's when I gotta go objective and not subjective.
Exactly. So, I mean, if we're talking about like everything, outside of this, you could say, okay, this is a more meaningful record. This is, and everything else. But in that moment, in this placement, in this verses, I don't think that was the right track to put up, and I don't know. I would even honestly use that record all in the verses, quite frankly. That's just being real.
I knew he would go Rainy Days because it popped off for him back then. Like, so I knew it was going to get placement. I went, what's it called? Ja here. What's it called? For me, a lot of Joe's 2010s material just don't hit for me the way his 2000s and 90s stuff did. So I do agree that the Rainy Days placement, it does kind of seem like what's it called? It does kind of seem like no matter what, he was going to play that song anyway. When you look at the placement, but I went Ja here, but y'all went Joe. So round 14 goes to Joe.
So now we squared up 7-7. Swinging into the next round here. Joe, ooh. This is when, it's getting murder, man. It's getting murder. It was Terror Error a couple rounds ago. Now we getting that murder. So Joe, what's the title track? I Won't Tell on here, but that's I don't know.
It was I Won't Tell with Jay Holiday.
Okay, all right, cool. I guessed that one actually. I remember that song when it came out, but I also remember Clapback too. Yes. And even though he was under the 50 Cent Apocalypse, that song, if we keeping it real, was a banger.
And the crowd responded to it last night, yo.
Yes. Yeah. And yo, man, I just want to give Ja his flowers because in the moment he was getting hated on so much, DJs wasn't playing that. Even Club Records was shading it, because 50 Cent was just such a figure. But Clapback was, I remember when I bought that album. I bought Blood in My Eyes, and I'm like, Clapback.
I got that CD too. Clapback is better than a couple of 50 Cent singles from his prime. Better than Candy Shop. I'll say that right now. Better than the Candy Shop shit. Yeah.
Clapback is incredible, man.
Yeah, you came Clapback, and it's like Joe King with that song was like, no. That's what I thought, because Joe, we already know some of the later rounds, some of his song selections worked the best, but this was definitely definitely a dud to go against Clapback. So it was a no-brainer to me, for as far as Ja getting this round.
Yeah, I went Ja here, and you know what's crazy? Clapback is produced by Scott Storch. That was and I this is a underrated Ja Rule single. But yeah, Brandon, for everything you said, this album, the problem is he put it on he had good singles, but not like an album that felt a little mixtapey. You know what I mean? I wish he had kept The Crown and Clapback and treated the rest of that album as like an album and not a mixtape. And, you know, things might have went different. But yeah, Clapback to me just absolutely blows out. I won't tell out the water here. So I think we all just went Ja Rule on this one.
No doubt.
Yeah, definitely Ja Rule from this one.
Yeah, no doubt. And big shout out to Buck Wild, who did I forgot to mention he produced Lifestyle.
Yes.
And he also produced Lean Back, if I'm not
Lean Back is
Scott
Storch. My bad. Yeah. I know Buck Wild laced Fat Joe a couple times. But
they got a lot throughout their career. Yeah.
Absolutely. DITC. But Fat Joe, this is when we get a dirty ENT. You know what I mean? Nelly Vision comes through with the Ashanti makeup from the breakup.
Dirty Mo came through.
2 a.m. Wow, this was a shocker. I mean, none of us expected this. Then Nelly does Hot in Here. We're not counting that.
That one I knew. I knew that was just like giving the fans a treat. Yeah.
It's still a concert, still a live performance. We get it.
Yeah.
Nelly was a little raspy up there, though. Tell me no.
He was a little raspy. He probably
it's getting hot in here. I was like, damn, Marge. Now he sounded like Marge Simpson's sisters. Like, sound like Patty and Selma up there.
Yo, I haven't heard that.
So man,
the Simpson sisters. But yeah, so Ja comes with I Cry. I mean, even in the moment when I Cry came out, I recognized that as a quality record and not just like a radio grab. Like that's a quality song.
That was that was like a feel. Like he threw it out like I don't care if it's top 40 or not, and it actually hit the top 40. I remember.
Yeah. Little Mo comes through again in the clutch. I went Ja on this round.
I on this one. What's funny is Rule 336, my favorite Ja Rule album. I Cry is the last single on it. I liked it back then. I didn't love it, but I also didn't care much for Get It Poppin'. So like Renzo kind of using it in like in the versus matchup, Get It Poppin' just did a little bit more for me. Maybe it's because Nelly showed up. So I actually went Joe here. So Renzo, you the tiebreaker here.
Oh.
I must say I did the same thing.
Oh.
Wait, you went
Get It Poppin'.
Oh shit, okay.
Joe's back.
Because like I said, the placement, like, I Cry was a good song. I just didn't like the placement for like a versus battle, And I mean, Lil Mo sang her heart out, don't get me wrong, but as shot up Nelly's voice was, I feel
Patty and Selma.
Because at first I'm like, oh my, is this the audio? No, I'm like, oh no, this is his voice. But no, I gave this slight edge to Get It Pop. I mean, it wasn't the strongest Joe record, but I think it was a better placement in this round based off what Ja had put up initially. I think Ja was almost. I think Ja looked at this alley-oop because Lil Mo's on here, But I still gave that round to Ja.
Ja took forever to set up the song I Cry. All right, when you're gonna be the East and you're gonna be the South and you're gonna, and I'm just like, play the damn song, Ja.
And that's why it will happen too, because I'm thinking. You're doing all this. You come in with a street banger, maybe Murder for maybe something like this, but then this I Cry like.
Yeah, the continuity's off, man. Again, like, and what's it called? You know what's crazy? You know what? I'm gonna save it for the end. There's a bunch of songs Joe left out that I'll say it after.
Yeah, say that for the end.
Yeah.
It was a fun moment in the comments where someone said, I don't know if I want to grab a gun or get my nails done. It's like that was the night in a nutshell.
That was funny, man. So we gave 16 to Joe. That's 2-1.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So we 8-8 now. All right. I did not expect Ashanti to be here. I didn't. That wasn't in my head.
I had a feeling she was.
I feel like she was, because I mean they always had a good relationship even after the. Even when she had a fallout with her guy, her and Ja always, because they even had a tour, or like 4 or 5 years ago, they had a joint tour together.
They gone on the tour. How they never made an album together, it's still beyond me. But anyway, they toured together, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I just didn't, it wasn't on my radar for her to be here guaranteed. But what a great play. Ja brings her out for Mesmerized. That energy's crazy. But I gotta go with Joe here. What's Love to Me is the better record, and he borrowed Ashanti. He's like, get over here, Scorpion.
Yeah. Get over here. I thought that might have been the best counter of the night.
That was a fantastic play.
He's like, oh, what you doing over here? You know what I mean? I gave it to I gave it to Joe on that one because I'm like that. That was the best chess move, and this goes back to chess versus checkers. Like chess, you thinking 3-4 moves at a time. Shanti's out there. Well, hey, why not? Come over here.
What's Love
you
is
need to come a little closer, literally.
It's a jam.
Yeah.
What's Love is a jam.
I gave that one to Fat Joe. One of my favorite lines from Ja at this point in the night. He said, Joe, he's like, he was like, of all the choruses I wrote, he's like, I wish I kept that one for myself. I was like, ooh,
yeah.
God, and Joe had nothing for that. That's the one thing about the relationship. They both gave each other hits at needed times. When Murda Inc. was hot, they gave him What's Love. And when, you know what I mean? And when Joe was hot and Ja was fading out, like Cool and Dre and Joe, they did New York. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
no doubt. Yeah, New York was definitely.
I went What's Love here. I've always hated Mesmerize. I've never liked that song ever. I've never liked it. So What's Love? Honestly, Joe could have just played anything, and I was gonna give him the vote because I've never liked Mesmerize.
He could have played another Big Pun record.
Yo, that he produced, and he could have played the Taster's Choice skit.
All right, man. So we're getting here to the last couple rounds. So Ashanti's still on stage, working getting her time in. Ja Rule has Always on Time, and Fat Joe comes up with the Make It Rain feature. I never was a big fan of that Make It Rain era. That was probably my worst, problematic year in hip hop. To be frankly honest,
2006, beginning of the end.
We do an episode on that one later, but yeah, I get it. People like that song. I mean, I understand why. I do understand why he did that song. This, I think, would have been the realm of the R. Kelly feature had, let's just say in the alternate universe, like a We Thug In or type of something, would have fit perfect here.
Yeah, they left out their R. Kelly records on purpose, you could tell, man.
For obvious reasons, yeah.
And those records are smashes for both of them, too.
We Thug In.
I mean, we talking about that. Well, no, I mean, that was probably the second biggest hit. I think What's Love was probably the biggest hit.
Yeah, it's funny. One of them is a number one, the other one's a number two. And then Ja had Wonderful with R. Kelly. Those were playable songs, and you could tell they were just trying to avoid
staying away.
The cancel culture.
Yeah. So I went Always on Time with this one versus Fat Joe's Make It Rain.
It's funny. I didn't like Make It Rain when it came out. I never was a big fan of that song. But for whatever reason, last night
that song sucks, yo. I'm being honest.
Yeah, but this is I don't know. This is edit. I don't know. Like I said, I'm talking about in the moment now. And we're talking about song for song. Always on Time to me is a better record on paper. I'm in the moment though. That night, for whatever reason, that song just hit different for me last night. So I honestly went with Make It Rain, even though that's really not a song I care for. You know what I mean? But this, I don't know, because I saying same year, 2006. But for whatever reason, it had me in a different vibe. For whatever reason, I uncharacteristically with Joe on that record.
I went Ja Rule here, man.
All right, Ja wins.
Make It Rain was literally Wheezy carried it with the hook in 2006. Wheezy was like the go-to guy. On that album that Joe got Make It Rain from, the Me, Myself, and I, he's got other songs on there, like one called The Pandemic, one called Damn. Those are street records that I would have preferred. Make It Rain, it did things for him. It gave him a hit. It probably put more money in his pockets. I just don't think it's like stronger than Always on Time. The crowd went nuts for it. The crowd responded to Make It Rain too, but I feel like they went a little bit more nuts for Always on Time. And honestly, I just I couldn't put Make It Rain over Always on Time. I'm with you on that one, Brandon. Like Make It Rain just does nothing for me. And so I say that one 2-1. We get that one goes to Ja.
Fair enough. Hey, I respect it. Like I said, it's that moment.
Yeah, man, you caught the vibes I caught earlier, Rance.
Yeah.
Sorry. So
what is in this champagne?
All right, so Ja Rule, this is when the shirt is already off for Ja Rule.
Yeah.
But Are You Welly? I'm Real. The J-Lo huge record gets played.
That was big in 2001. I remember
Heat
that.
Rock. We said this earlier though. That's a heat rock, but I don't think Ja Rule has. Many people don't have a lean back, which is a nuclear bomb. So lean back was clearly the winner here.
Apparently, Joe produced that one too.
Had the squad got scar on their face.
Yeah, exactly. And the best part is with lean back, Remy. Joe had that record to himself, even though it was a Terror Squad, like a true story single. Remy had to like erase a Joe verse, add her verse when he wasn't there, just to get on the song. That's how she got on the song. And you know what? It was a wise choice. What's funny is here, he had lousy intros to songs. He was like, we're in New York, we're in the Mecca. And then he drops I'm Real. And I'm like, dude, like, I thought you were going to do like a Murder for Life kind of record. You went I'm Real. And, the crowd responded to it. But I was just like, nah, I was like, that was a lousy setup.
Yeah, that was a flat. That's a flat track.
I went lean back here as well, bro. Like, it's funny. I like lean back. I never loved it. But I know what it is here. I also went lean back here. What about you, Renz?
It's a no-brainer. I mean, like I said, it kind of reminds me of the placement of Rainy Days. Like, okay, it's a good song, but probably doesn't fit in a versus format for you. Going against a Fat Joe. And it's funny because when the clapback came on, I was thinking like, man, you need to hit lean back. But I'm glad he waited to the very end to use it. Arguably probably one of third, fourth biggest hit. At that point, it's funny you mentioned about Remy doing that verse, leaving Fat Joe's verse. That verse that she did, I don't know if you remember it, but it was mostly from a freestyle she did off the H to the Izzo beat. Like she changed some of the bars up towards the end.
That makes sense at the beginning. She goes like that, to the easy. Yeah.
And to the So like I think a good 75% of that verse was actually from that freestyle. And then she added a little bit of something, give it more of that club feel. But there's a lot of tracks you can't put up against lean back, regardless who the artist is, especially if this is supposed to be almost your end game record, to wrap up the verse. So yeah, I definitely gave you Joe on this one.
You know how crazy I am? If Ja Rule had honestly put, and I would have lost this one, if Ja Rule had did like clap back against lean back, ironically the battle of the backs, that's how much I prefer clap back over lean back. And lean back was the smash. I'm a clap back guy. Yeah. I will say, like,
and that's for performance. Lean back then,
for performance value, that would have been a nice like counter, like just for the fans, like the energy.
It's like, you're gonna lean back? Well, I'm gonna clap back to that. Boom, but that was nice. Just the way Josh set all that up for I'm Real. I'm like, nah, bro. I was like, that wasn't it, man.
Well, the obvious, we kind of knew New York was going to be played, whether or not we got Jadakiss or not. We knew New York was going to come. So Joe leans into that record. If I'm not correct, now
they share that both.
They shared it.
So, So to me, that was like, okay, that's a tie or whatever. So we're really looking at
maybe we give them a point each for that one.
Yeah, you can get a point each, or we just look at 19 rounds.
Well, right now we have it's 10-9 Ja for the cumulative score.
So even if we give them a point each, it's 11-10 Ja.
Yeah, Ja still wins. And so this is interesting, and we can get into afterthoughts. Like I went to bed last night, like, damn, Ja Rule won. Like, and then
that's been the consensus online actually today.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
And I wasn't sure though, because I've been hearing opposite, like, man, Joe washed them, and like
anybody saying either of them washed is full of it. Like that's just people. That's one person who don't like the other. I'm telling you that right now.
Yeah.
And they didn't watch.
This was hella close, and I left. I didn't tally last night because I just wanted some excitement for tonight. But in my head, I went to bed like, damn, Ja Rule, he won that.
I honestly went to bed thinking Joe had a slight edge, but I was between because I think my original tally, I changed some stuff here and there. I think my original tally I had it as a tie initially, saying that maybe Fat Joe had the very, very minimal slight edge, but after waking up, reviewing some of the stuff, even on this episode, Ja had it, but by a smidge. Obviously, we're looking at how this has been tallied. I mean, I don't think there's always gonna be a winner or loser, but I don't think really nobody took a L, like a Dipset L,
True.
In this versus, for sure.
Yeah, true. So any tracks that you guys felt like were not in this verses that like should have been an automatic?
Hell yeah. Oh man.
Shit is real.
Mm.
Don't know why it wasn't on there. You talking about I'm gonna bring you back to the streets. That was, to me, was a no-brainer. You got Shit Is Real. Like,
yeah,
I would have had that as a Don Cartagena.
Absolutely.
Yo, Joe could have did. Listen to this. He could have did Envy. Hey, Joey. He could have did that. He could have did Triz. He could have did.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Triz. I thought he would have pulled Triz on that later.
Yeah, and it was
Terror
upbeat,
Squad.
and that would have beaten some Ja Rule records.
Yeah.
Yo, he had
Terror
Tony
Squad
Sunshine
stuff.
there. Yeah. And Triz was actually on the Don Cartagena, so he could have just did his verse, you know what I mean, and then played the pun hook. Yo, Tony Sunshine, we said was there. Why didn't you bring him out to do All I Need? Tony sings the hook, Joe does a verse. There's a couple of records there of Jaws that All I Need would have beaten.
T.S. Chain.
Yo, I love T.S. Chain. I always wish he went with that as a single, bro.
Yeah.
Yo, Joe had a joint with Just Blaze on the same album that Get It Poppin' is. Once again, back, it's the incredible. He could have did that. He could have did so much more. You know what my wild card was, and I knew he wouldn't play it. If he had did the Gangstar Who Got Guns, I would have lost my mind. I would have lost my mind.
That could have really changed the whole perspective.
Absolutely. Because everybody know that record.
Yeah, because he went off on that one.
Yeah.
Again, and that's a song where he contributes. Like it's made to Make It Rain. Or we taking
Joe
over. He didn't do that.
Difference on that Gangstar record. And he's there with Gangstar and MOP. You know how much you're up against, and he stood out. What's it called? Yeah, like Joe to me could have won it if he really if he did fewer of those like hits that aren't really hits and just sprinkled in more of those like street records that he's known for. You know what I mean? Excuse me. But yeah, you know what sucks? I wanted Ja to also do the Pledge remix, but then I realized his verse is dissing Snoop Dogg, so he wasn't gonna do it. But the remix, and look, I think yesterday was Nas's birthday, so it would have been perfect. Nas's birthday, happy birthday, Nas. Oh, by the way, there's no me. Yo, what? But his verse is literally, and Ashanti
was there to sing it. Yeah, that would have been dope.
That's a record that would have beaten a couple of Joe records. I'll be very honest with you. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Murder for Life. Y'all said it earlier. That would have been a clear automatic.
Drugs and Murder for Life.
Man, I'm trying to think, man. Anything else that
didn't do that? How Many Wanna? That one hurt. The one that hurts the most for me is How Many Wanna, because honestly, that was one of those in the beginning when he was firing off those pop records too early. Yo, we were saying Murder for Life. How Many Wanna? We Don't Give Up. Like he had counters to them that he let go to waste.
Yeah, anything from the Murderers I'd have been happy with. Obviously that was something of value because he didn't really do that. And man, Kill 'Em All, which I said to y'all in the voice notes, I really thought he was going to sneak that in there. I think it's a nice battle record. Like even in the video, he's got like the Ja Rule wave cap, and he got the boxing gloves, like he's in the ring.
Like I'm a hitter.
That's a perfect face-off record, but
and he starts off fast. It must be the way that I hit. Like he, yeah. So yeah, that would have been nice. Honestly, after last night, what's it called? I wanted to listen to Veni Vidi Vici today. I really felt like revisiting like early Ja that people just forget.
Word.
I think overall though, I think this was a good spotlight for both of them. I think for people who kind of like thought Ja was too popular, he actually had to shoot records. And I think the same thing in Joe in respect, like saying, Joe has lasted for decades. Like I even said, like you were making hits before me, with me, and after me. You know what I mean? I think for people who just know the commercial Fat Joe, say, oh man, Fat Joe, Terror Era, OG Terror Squad, Fat Joe was nothing to play with, back then.
Yeah, he said to Jai, he said, J-Lo, he's like, she's not taking your calls anymore. I was like, Jesus Christ, Joe.
Irv Gotti was in the background like,
But you know what? Ja had some good counters when Joe was like, I've been here doing this. He's like, and you're still trying to catch up to me. I was like, ooh, he's not wrong. He's not wrong. wrong.
He said, you started before me and you're still going and you still ain't up to me.
And
That's
he's
facts.
not wrong. Like from a numbers perspective, don't care how you feel about who, he's not wrong. He's not wrong. That can be proven.
I mean, he's one of the hot, top sellers. But do y'all remember seeing Royce's comment though on
I did see that.
If Lee Mack was on when I had money.
He said,
what he said? What did Royce say?
He said if these songs were, he said if I was around, like if I had money, when these songs were out, I'd be in jail.
Yeah, because when Lee Mack came on,
I actually screenshotted that. I'm gonna send it to y'all.
I've never seen that live, though. I'm like, oh, Royce.
Oh man. Now see, I watch it without the comments because I watch it on like the Triller site because like I don't want to see the I want to watch them, so I never see any of the comments at all. So I'm always late. I'm always late to like who said what.
Yo, Irv Gotti was hilarious too.
Yeah, when he talked about the 50 Cent stuff or whatever, like, you know.
But even on What's Love, he was like, "Oh, that's a great Murda Inc. record you playing there, G." Like we already went.
So yo, the final tally, right? If we give that the New York, if we give them a point each, it's 11-10. Ja won the Tres Leches tally.
Yeah, Ja still wins by one.
Yeah, we can tell you.
Cool.
By one.
Yeah, because like I had a tie, Zoe had one tie, but we're doing majority rules.
We had the tiebreakers.
Each round. So Ja Rule is the consensus winner here for the Tres Leches versus outcome. You know, come find us in the comments. That's it, baby. Come find us in the comments. You know, if you agree, disagree, whatever it is, it's all good. Just know we do this, and you know, we was scholars last night. We wasn't just sitting around lollygagging. You know, we was actually taking notes and you know, taking.
We got
inventory.
spreadsheets here.
You know what I mean?
You know what I mean? Exactly. Yeah, you know, we're gonna get all the shit in the world for picking Can I Get Her over Lifestyle. I'm just telling you, right? We're gonna get like Timberland boots just thrown at our fucking doorsteps.
Yeah, and Lifestyle. That
one hurts.
Too.
Yeah,
when I first heard them, like Lifestyle, like yes, I'm like, can I get
he even did his remix verse on it. He did his first verse, and then the other verse, he was like, "Hoodie down with the Mac." That's from the remix with Jadakiss and Remy.
Hoodie down with the Mac. Yeah, and again, it's like you got to be subjective versus objective in some of these things. Yeah, because you know, we all of us, you know, we like the backpack hip hop, true essential East Coast stuff. But sometimes you just got to be like, man, a win's a win, a play's a play. Like. Yeah, if it goes, it
separate
goes.
yourself from what's going on. Just call it. Yeah. So no, guys, this was good. Definitely looking forward to posting this, and people hollering at us on the comments, agreeing, disagreeing. I'm looking for all disagreements, and I want Justin to come back. I want him to fire one of us.
Justin, Justin is murder. TS.
All right, guys. Well, this was dope. And again, for everybody watching, as always, clearly, if you're watching this, you have found our YouTube channel. Everything else, we are Tres Leches Radio on all social media platforms. And again, stream us on Amazon Music, Apple Music, and Spotify. So with that said, Tres Leches is out, and we'll be back with another one in due time.
Word. Peace.
Peace.